Represent your shit. Need a horn and a drum roll. Turn up, yeah! I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work.
Represent your shit. Need a horn and a drum roll. Turn up, yeah! I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work.
Represent your shit. Need a horn and a drum roll. Turn up, yeah! I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work.
Represent your shit. Need a horn and a drum roll. Turn up, yeah! I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I never talk to them boys that sit on them benches. I was in the game on 4th and inches.
Now it's time to go to work.
Let's get it started. Sorry for the late start. I had to finish watching the episode of The Boys. So if you haven't watched The Boys, it's on Amazon Prime. It's a really good show. Y'all should watch it. So that's why I was late today. A little late, not too late, but had to watch The Boys. Alrighty, let's get it started. From the ashes. Anyway, here we go. You are live here on 863 Seminole TV. I'm your host, POLK, a.k.a. AloMoney, a.k.a. The Goddamn Truth. You on another episode of The Hangover. On the midst of another blowout loss. On the midst of a big time rumor that I broke. I didn't break it. Let me rephrase that I put out there. I didn't break it, but a rumor that there will be a mass exodus here in Tallahassee in the coming weeks. Some players have responded. And the coach seemed to have responded as well if you didn't check his interview. So we're going to address that. We're definitely going to talk about that today. What did Mike Norvell have to say? Now, he didn't address it directly, but I believe he said something to me that was in reference of that rumor, which to me gives it a little bit of validity. But we'll talk about that. Again, a couple players have spoke up on the rumor as well, if you have not heard. And I guess we'll look forward to NC State and see what that's going through. Not going to talk much about Pitt. I've tried to forget that game. We'll try to move forward to NC State. From here on out, guys, to be honest with you, is it really worth going over, reviewing, and previewing these games? Or do we know what we're going to see? Today's show is going to be a little different. We're going to talk about, as you can see on the screen, From the Ashes. What am I talking about? Well, the title of this video is Olympus is Falling. That's right. It's fallen. Now we're going to talk about how do we rebuild from the ashes? How does this once great program rise from the ashes again? I think we'll get into a little bit of that today. So let's do a roll call real quick. Well, don't see too many people in the chat so far, but hit that like button on your way in. 25 people in here. We'll do a roll call here in a minute. By all means, put something in the comment section so I know you're in here. And we get this roll call started and we'll get the main topics of this video going. We will address the rumor that I broke, keep saying break, that I put out there yesterday. There were people, most people I think commented on that video seemed to be, felt good about it, felt like, that's good news, it sucks, but at the same time, there's a lot of positive outlooks on it. I had some people throwing conspiracy theories out there. Some people aren't happy about it. I don't quite understand the conspiracy theories, which I can address too. But I understand the positive and negative reactions. Anyway, let's hit a roll call real quick and then we'll get into the meat of this video. Peter Shields in the building. Brandon B, what's going on? Chad Kinsler. Florida State love. Pay attention, son. Heaven Strong, One Tribe 5, J Play. Florida Gators are in here. Marlon Bloomfield, what's up? Marcus Cameron, I think it's my first time seeing you, Marcus Cameron. I guess you're a Clemson fan. Nice to see you. Mr. C, Rose No Blooded. Brian Walters, Mr. Jurgen Henry, what's up, bruh? And all right, so that's all we got so far. I'm pretty sure more people will drop in as we continue. Basically, here's the deal. List of 12 players dropped yesterday. Now, D. Thompson, I see you. Now, I got some people asking, is this a real list? At the end of the day, it's a rumor. Nobody's confirmed. Few players have denied. You can't find an article on it. People asking me, where's the article? Where's the link? There's no article on it. Okay, this was on a premium message board on Noel's game day, from my knowledge. It had to be like a Patreon or something. So basically, you had to pay to be on this message board, and this is the information that dropped. The name attached to it. Okay, I'm gonna attach a name to it, so I'm not looked as the person that's spreading false information here. The name attached to it is Nate Greer of Noel's Game Day. He's the one who put the list out. So his name, his neck is on the line. A couple players tweeted that information was false. One is Jaleel McRae. The other one was, I'm running a blank right now. Jaleel McRae. Man, who's the other one? Well, I know Kalen DeLoach's dad said it was false. Jaleel McRae said it was false. And Brandon Gant. Brandon Gant was the other one who said it was false. So those are three players who came out today and refuted that they are not transferring or opting out or whatever the case may be. Pretty much every other player remains silent from what I've seen. Now, I'll say this. I told you take that rumor with a grain of salt. I told you those names, not all 12 are probably accurate. Some may change. Some may not even be transferring. It may be other names that's not on the list that we see. Here's what I think. And this is coming from Mike Norvell. Here's why I think there's some validity to what took place yesterday. Mike Norvell said in his interview today, I just had it up. Let me get it back. Mike Norvell says, and I quote, "The real guys, they understand what's in front of us. Guys that are willing to make that commitment, see the structure and plan in front of us. At the end of the day, I am and always have been about what we can do for the player's future." I repeat, the real guys, they understand what's in front of us. Guys that are willing to make that commitment, see the structure and plan in front of us. So everybody that messaged me, not believing it, thinking it's fake news, and it may very well be, there may not be 100% accuracy across the board on those 12 names. Again, two players and a player's father have refuted that information. The point I'm getting at is, I don't think Mike Norvell makes that comment about the real guys if there's not some truth to some players getting out of Tallahassee. I think it's pretty obvious that there's going to be some attrition and guys leaving in the coming weeks, like what was being reported. I don't think Norvell makes that statement if it's just completely made up and fake. Norvell also went on to say, says there's a few older guys who would have normally exhausted their eligibility, but have expressed their desire to return to be a part of that. Now, I don't know. He didn't specify who those guys were, so I don't know who those guys are. He said a few older guys. So we'll see what happens on that. There is I don't know if there's a split in the locker room, but there's definitely, I think, a couple guys buying in, and there seems to be guys not buying in. What does that have to do going forward? Well, I've said it before. I'll say it again. You don't want to be a part of it. You're either part of the problem or you're going to be part of the solution. I think the guys that want to leave should go. They don't want to be part of the solution, so that means they're part of the problem. We're not slandering any kid's names. Let me be clear. It's not about slandering a kid's name, saying a kid is a bad kid or anything like that. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is, as they say. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Okay? I'm not mad at a kid who thinks they're not being utilized correctly for wanting to leave. Some of those kids, again, like I said yesterday, some of those kids on that list are some good kids. And some of them have had, well, I don't want to say they've had character issues per se. First of all, let's understand something. Because I had this comment, and let's address this. Just because you say a kid has character issues doesn't mean that they're somebody went as far as to say these kids haven't been committed of rape or anything. And I'm like, okay, bro, you just want to jump off the deep end and go off like that. Okay. Just because you say a person has character issues, it ain't got nothing to do with being committed or convicted or accused of a crime. Like, let's be very clear about that. Perfect example. Mr. Terrell Owens never did anything off the field that would be considered a criminal. Yet I think most people who know about his career would say that Terrell Owens had character issues in the locker room. He was a cancer, so to speak. I bring that up because when I talk about a Warren Thompson and how Warren Thompson, and D Thompson, I know that's your cousin, right? So bear with me. But I bring it up to say Warren Thompson has had issues, right, with multiple coaching staffs. Those are character issues. Doesn't mean Warren Thompson's a bad kid. Doesn't mean Warren Thompson is a criminal. Some of these kids have some character issues that they have to fix or figure out. So I wanted to address that because, again, I got accused of, I guess, I don't know, slandering some kids' names or something, which I don't do. I only talk about their on the field play. That's all I do here. BB, what's up? I see you. So, again, hit that like button as you come on in. Don't know how long we're going to be on today, but from the ashes, what does Florida State have to do to rise from the ashes? Because if this thing isn't burnt down, it's definitely in the process of being burnt down. I think we could agree about that. What do they do to build it up? Well, I believe they are in the right direction in terms of what you have to do, right? Some things, look, a fresh coat of paint on a rickety ass building ain't gonna fix the plumbing, the termites in the wall, make you look good on the outside. It ain't gonna fix the foundational problems, the plumbing problems, the rotted dry wood in the walls, the termite. You guys pretty much get where I'm going at. It's time to tear this thing down and build it up. It's unfortunate. Unfortunately, FSU dropped the ball on this on the. It remains to be seen if they dropped the ball on this hire, but they definitely dropped the ball on the previous hire. This isn't necessarily about that. The point I'm getting at is FSU. We thought we were in a place where we could hire a guy to maintain something, not realizing that at that point the core was rotten anyway. Okay? Once Jimbo quit, the core was rotten anyway. The assumption was we just need a guy to get in here. When Willie Taggart took over, the analogy was, well, they're just handing him the keys to the Ferrari, which, FSU had a lot of talent. I mean, the year Jimbo quits, FSU goes into the fourth quarter with Alabama, the first game of the season, before DeAndre Francois gets hurt. So what's the score of that game, if anybody want to remind me? We're in that game until the end, till James Blackman is forced in there, and we really didn't have a chance at that point. It was looked at as if FSU still had the pieces in play, and they hired a guy who maybe wasn't qualified, or at the time, they didn't realize a rebuild was necessary, and it set us back. Well, guess what? We fired him. We get set back even further. This is the course of action that needs to take place. CJ, what's up, man? It's time to eliminate the rotten core, and the only way you do that is a complete tear down. That's the only way you can do it. It's just kind of, if that's not apparent at this point, man, I'm really not too sure what is. New coaching, obviously, we just can't throw coaches at these kids and expect things to get done. Um, the the one common denominator, quite honestly, is some of these kids. While I've been really hard on the coaches, and I'm going to continue to be. I don't think you can know. I can't deny, and this isn't even about the player on the field. I still think there's a ton of talent. This is more about, I think, mentally, and I probably should have realized this earlier. Mentally, there is a lot of weak kids. I don't know why it took me this long to realize that these kids are mentally weak. Um, but the fact is, you've got guys smoking cigars after beating North Carolina, like if they just won a college football player playoff game, or if like they just won the ACC championship, or if they just won a national championship. Forget the fact that at the time that you beat North Carolina, what was our record? One in, what was it? We had lost to Georgia Tech, Miami, and Notre Dame. At the time, you're 1-3, if I'm not mistaken, when you play North Carolina, and they're celebrating like if they are undefeated on the season. I get it. Well, I get that it's a good feeling to beat a decent team, but that wasn't the first sign of a mental weakness. Some of these guys, when you lack real leadership in the locker room, it shows. There's no way, if Marvin Wilson is half the leader that some thought he was, that you allow that. Anybody in that locker room, how do you allow that to take place? Let's be real. Because if I'm in that locker room, I'm like, what are we lighting cigars for? What have we done? We ain't proved nothing. Put them cigars down. Let's get to work. And maybe if we get above 500, we can start celebrating something. So those are just a few examples of just how mentally fragile this team is. Chance has definitely character issues with some of these kids. No leadership on the field from Durden and Wilson on the defense. Everybody leads differently, but I haven't seen any. Just address that one. Players 2, what's up, Hurricane Speed? Montre, what's up? We're celebrating. Yeah, that's another thing, man. When you watch a team, we're getting blown out by Pitt, and you're watching guys. Okay, good job. You got a tackle for a loss, but the score is 30-something to 17, and you're celebrating. What is there to celebrate? Line back up and get ready for the next play. See, so the mentality at FSU has really gone awry. Guys are very happy with being. They're happy with being bad. I don't care. There's no other way around it. There's obviously that the Robert Coopers of the world. And I'm talking about these guys who get up and celebrate after doing good plays. Yeah, you're content with. I won't even call it mediocrity because this isn't even mediocre that we're watching. This is subpar, and you're content with that. I don't see any grit. I don't see anybody saying, man, what are you doing all that celebrating for? Line back up and let's move to the next play. Like, they don't have any of that. So the only way to rebuild this from the ashes is for these players to move along. Get me some kid. At this point, just give me some 3-stars who give a damn. Okay, I've done this whole season really getting on the coaching. Well, I'm going to shift that to the players probably for the rest of the season, but we'll see how it plays out. Because I'm watching too many kids just be happy with mediocrity or subpar play. Where's the anger? It's one thing to be mad after a loss, but just where's the on-field intensity? I don't see any of that. Sniper says, these dudes only care about social media. Like, they be posting and they just got their heads beat and the thing's cool. Like, no, Florida State, not Alabama State. There's a lot of truth to what you guys are saying. I mean, they rather, because I'm on FSU Twitter a lot. I follow damn near every former player, every current player that I can find, all the media outlets that cover the team. And these guys are quick to snap at, a former player who criticizes them. Yet you go out on the field and give the type of performances that they have continuously given. I mean, what are you expecting? Um, I'm. We need to go back to what Jimbo used to do and what Nick Saban does. They should eliminate social media during the season because these kids. Now, there's some self discipline that comes with that. Get off of social media, man, and just play football. But I got it. Everybody nowadays, it's bigger than football nowadays. Everybody has to have a brand, and to market themselves. You need to get as many followers as you can because that's going to be the way you make money. I got it. But these kids are in a position to where they make themselves look foolish when you tweet after you beat North Carolina, Robert Cooper. You tweet to Antonio Cromartie because he had criticisms. Then the next game, y'all come out and get blasted by Louisville. Oh, and then you get blasted by Pitt. Now you've gone completely silent. So you can talk when you win, but you can't back anything up on the field or talk when you lose. Really bad look. Make you guys look mentally soft, mentally weak. Marv is too laid back, reserved to lead from the front. Well, the problem is, even if it doesn't come from Marvin Wilson, who is it gonna come from? Somebody has to take that mantle. Every good locker room has it. Every good locker room has a guy that you need. Not only do you need great coaching, you need great on the field coaches. You need players who demand more. And I ain't seen too many of those guys. Not sure we have too many of them. So until they find that, they're gonna be in trouble. They're gonna be in trouble. No, I didn't check the podcast out yet. I will watch it though. Honestly, I didn't watch it. If I'm just saying whatever, if maybe something similar to what they're saying, that may be the case, but I haven't checked it out yet. I did plan on it too. I'll plan on it, but I haven't got to it. No anger for this season. The youngsters have a few alphas, though. We'll see who emerges from the young group. Pay attention. Name one player that Norvell yelled at. Name one player that Norvell benched. Okay, Mr. Gator, you want to play this game? Let's play the game. I've watched Norvell yell at multiple players on the sidelines. First of all, let me address this. Yelling does not equate to a good coach. Let me be very clear on that. Doesn't equate to being a good coach. But if you want to go this route, there are plenty of clips we can show of Norvell yelling at Jerry Jones. He benched him after he yelled at him. He benched Donta Lucas after doing a stupid person after when he slapped that guy in the face. He got benched. And I'm probably missing some guys because we talked about it after he did it. So he's done those things. So you can continue. Todd, what's going on? Facts, Polk. I'd rather get some kids that give a damn about winning and losing than some 4-star kids who don't give a damn about being down 30. He yelled at a couple players for personal fouls. He's yelled and benched guys. So that's not, that narrative that he's not, I guess, coaching on the sidelines or getting in kids' faces is absolutely false. Absolutely false. I do blame coaches for putting some of the players out there week to week who have underachieved all year. Chad, only thing I'll say to that is, the more I watch this team, the more I believe that some of the younger kids just aren't ready to play. And I think you get into a situation, man, where you have no choice but to put certain guys out there. And we'll see what they do going forward. Woodbay, he's yelled and benched a lot of guys. Don't let somebody come here telling y'all different. I mean, if you watch the team, you know exactly what's going on and what has been going on. Marvin Wilson too, absolutely. He, he again, we can keep naming guys. We've seen it. Florida State fans, we've seen it. Uh, let's just worry about who Dan Mullen's wife is kissing on Saturdays. But anyway, so as they continue this rebuild, the question is going to be the type of character of a kid they get from here on out. I think this particular recruiting class, they'll add some names, but don't. I hope they prove me wrong, but don't expect any big time names in the remainder of this class. You're going to have to fill this class out with some project type players, most likely. I mean, I can't foresee a kid looking at the situation and going, yeah, that's the team I want to play for. You know what I mean? But what you're going to have to do, they're going to have to use this first recruiting class as a locker room cleaner. And from there on out, you're going to have to, it's all going to come down to play on the field, but you got to get high. And again, when I say high character guys, I'm not talking like this team is full of a bunch of bad kids. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But there are a bunch of mentally fragile kids on this team. That has to be addressed. There are a lot of kids who don't know. There's a lot of losers. Let's just be honest about it, right? There's a lot of losers on this team. There are a lot of just guys who don't know how to win football games. They're losers. They're front runners. I can't even call them front runners because every time they jump out in front, they let teams come back anyway. They don't know how to face adversity. They don't know how to dig their heels in the dirt and stand up for nothing. I'm talking about strictly on the field. So when I say high character, I just mean mentally strong, winners, hard workers. I think some of these kids ain't even hard workers. So I'm not saying that they're bad kids, but from a football standpoint, we got some bad kids. Transfer portal and JUCO will be the road. Well, definitely the transfer portal. I agree, Derek. And he'll definitely have to dip in some of those JUCO ranks as well. Notre Dame was 4-8 4 years ago. State will, yeah. I mean, Florida was a 4-game team, and they got the right coach in there. Mullen, they went from 4 to 10 games in a season, if I'm not mistaken. Now, since Gator Nation is all chiming in on FSU affairs, which again I welcome you, Gator. But I believe they were a 4-win team. Goddamn Mullen, he took them to a 10-win team. Not calling for Norvell's head. I've addressed that as well. I will call for Norvell's head if I don't see any improvement sometime next year. This season is a wash. I accept it. I'm picking us to beat NC State, okay? Only because I'm gonna stand firm on my shield. I said that we were gonna lose to Pitt and beat NC State. We've got a 2-game win streak on NC State. They've got freaking Bailey Hockman at quarterback. If we can't figure out a way to win that game, man. I don't care how they looked against Miami. Every Saturday is a different game. NC State, I think we can win that game. Now, going forward, I still say the season's a wash. It doesn't matter. The only way the season isn't a wash if you're able to somehow you can win every game the rest of the way except for Clemson, and the season is still a failure and a wash. Because quite frankly, none of the teams down the stretch are even any good, with the exception of Clemson. The only salvageable part of this year is if somehow you were able to beat the Clemson Tigers. And I think we all know better than that. So that we're gonna have to figure out. They're gonna have to call this season a wash, and they're gonna have to regroup, figure out who can go, who needs to stay. All that stuff's gonna come from inside. The 2020 class will set the standard, which is this class. Run all scripted plays from game one. Seemed like that would be enough plays on offense for now. FSU scripted plays have worked since game one. Y'all still happy y'all beat North Carolina? Yeah. They still think they somebody. Just beat Georgia one time. Go sit down and worry about your Florida Gators. In my opinion, Amari Gainer is an absolute dog. He just needs to be more vocal. I want to see him step up and be a leader. I see so much potential in the guy. I like Amari Gainer too. It's just I'm a firm believer of leaders are you can't create a leader. You can't create a leaders are born, not made. And that's my firm opinion. You can have a guy with all the talent in the world in whatever it is he's doing, and that person just not really be an alpha. Some people are just betas. I don't know if Amari's a beta or an alpha, but usually by now you would know who the alphas on the team are. I don't necessarily see one alpha on the team. You? If I could think about some natural leaders on this team, I think the Love Taylor has taken that offensive line and made it his. Jordan Travis seems to have some real good leadership qualities about him. I don't know how vocal he is, though. I mean, James Blackman was a natural leader. I think James Blackman is the type of guy who can rally the troops. The problem is his play didn't reflect it. Football is a very interesting, just sports in general is very interesting. You can be a great talker, great speaker all you want, but if the play doesn't match the communication, that stuff starts to fall on deaf ears. So you gotta not only do you have to find guys who can communicate and naturally lead, they kind of got to be good players too. You know what I mean? What makes me upset is no one hits to hurt someone. I need to see some nasty hits. POLK leaders are natural, not made. Absolutely. I think you just have to naturally have it. I mean, look, Telvin Smith just had it from day one. I mean, James Winston as a freshman, he took the locker room over. As a freshman, made it his. And he was a damn good football player, as well as Telvin Smith. So, those leaders just emerge. The problem is when we start trying to appoint guys as leaders, like a Gainer. It's not a knock on Gainer, but he just might not be that. You know what I mean? Trying to appoint Marvin Wilson, when obviously he ain't that either. You just have to those guys have to emerge, and we'll see who emerges from the ashes. He says Asante Samuel. Asante Samuel to me is very similar to an Amari Gainer. I think he's a guy with all the talent in the world as well. Doesn't seem very vocal. Doesn't seem like he's demanding more from his fellow corners or DB players. This is just me from the outside. But I got to believe if Asante Samuel demanded guys play up to his standard, I think you'd see a better secondary. That could also go with some coaching too, but like Marcus Mariota, he was a leader by example, but Jameis was a pure leader. Travis J and Dix. Samuel is more by example. There you go. Leaders can definitely be made. Some guys just need a mentor to bring that vocal side out of them. And, you can have that opinion. I just don't. I think, look, you can coach a guy up to communicate better or whatever the case may be. I just, from doing the things that I do, you can see a manufactured leader and you can see a guy who just has it, is where I'm getting at. Doesn't mean that guy that hasn't been coached and mentored isn't necessarily good, but there's a difference. There's a difference between a guy who just is natural. Believe me, when you just got a guy who just has charisma And just when you listen to him, you're like, okay, I can follow this dude in a war. There's a difference between, okay, this guy's saying all the right things and he's even doing all the right things. But it's just something about him that's like, believe me, dog, there's really a difference when you are in the presence of those two things. Again, we can say all the names we want. Panama Webb could be. I mean, there's a lot of guys who could be, but who's gonna take? Who's gonna take? Look, you don't have to. When a guy has it, you don't have to tell him, "Hey, man, go out there and get it." He just goes gets it. He takes those bulls by the horn. He takes the reins, and he makes it his. Now we don't know. Maybe Webb has made that running back room his. Right? There's certain positions that leadership has to really come from. If we're being honest, linebackers seem to always be guys that can galvanize an entire defense. A Ray Lewis, a Telvin Smith, like I said, guys like that. A Derek Brooks, a Marvin Jones. Whereas, maybe your best corner isn't necessarily your leader, right? Maybe your best wide receiver isn't necessarily your leader. You need certain positions. Marvin Wilson, LOL, no. Asante inserted himself at punt returner when Keyshawn Helton would not catch any. Like if I see a linebacker like Jonathan Grenard get a sack, that fire up a whole Gators team. Same with Derwin James when he was at FSU. This team, they definitely don't have a mean streak. They definitely don't have a mean streak. Ramsey was definitely a guy who again, he made that, in my opinion, Ramsey made that secondary his. Just not only the way he played, but Ramsey wasn't scared to talk, tell a guy, man, remember, Jimbo Fisher kicked Jalen Ramsey out of a practice because he was practicing too hard. He was going too hard. Being unnecessarily physical or whatever. But you know what? That's what you need. You need a guy at any position to go, bro, that rep sucked. Go do it again. Granted, you want coaches to do that too, but it's a difference for coming from a coach because at a certain time, coach speak tends to run mute on any player, right? The same thing in any type of profession. Most of you guys, you tune your leaders out. I mean, Dennis D. Thompson is in the Air Force, so I think he can kind of understand what I'm talking about here. Your leadership is always going to preach the same things. When I say leadership, I'm talking big wigs. In football terms, coaching. In military terms, you're talking your higher non-commissioned officers or officers. Your big wigs are always going to preach the same stuff. That stuff starts to run mute on you. It's your peers that are going to hold you to the standard. It's your peers that are going to go, bro, that wasn't good enough. Go do that again. Once you start hearing those things, that stuff starts to sink in. I don't know if we have anybody like that, is really the point I'm trying to get at. What's up, Kendrick? And Fire Fuller now says he misses Jimbo. I miss a motivated Jimbo. It is what it is. So obviously, that's becoming a theme of this particular video, and it's really where's the leadership gonna come from? Who's gonna grab the bull by the horns and make this team theirs, regardless of class, regardless of longevity or any of that? Where's the leaders? We'll see if some of these young guys step up. Maybe a Steven Dix. I think the problem is a lot of us sometimes we want to equate good play to being leadership, and that's really not always the case. Um, Sometimes guys just have to take the reins and be, just because you're a great player doesn't always make you a leader. Sometimes, you know, you the problem is you got to have a leadership also has to come with on-field production. What I'm saying is not every player that's productive is a leader. So it's a real weird combination right there. Because you can't look. Let's be honest. You can't have the third string left tackle who we don't even know or some walk on be your if your walk on's your best leader, but he never gets in a game. What is that doing for you? So it's a weird combination. It really is. Truth, your peers will ensure standards are upheld. They have to. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like I said, because you're in the Air Force and I'm in the Army. They have to. As an NCO myself, I can go out there and I can preach all day long to my guys. This is what you need to do and do it this way. But when I leave, all that stuff I was talking was just going on deaf ears. If there's not a person there to uphold what is being said, those guys are going to do what they want to do. Or they'll do it wrong, or they'll do it half-assed. Your peers got to uphold it. So, just the way it is. FSU had bad luck. If Jimbo never got lazy, he would have easily made 10, 11 wins a season just because the ACC is so weak. And what's really sad is it's very weak this year, man, and we can't even make a dent in it. We can't even be competitive in these games, Sniper. He was at LSU prior. He brought in to revamp our offense. He could have stayed at LSU and gotten a head coaching gig later, but he didn't. He came here, and for that, we should be grateful. But you can't be talking when you're getting burned. Well, that's my thing. That's what I'm saying. They don't have any real leadership. Somebody should be on the field, and just because you make one good play, just because Emmett Rice. I'm just going to call Emmett Rice out. Not saying that he does this a lot, but I'm just going to call it out. Use Emmett Rice as an example. Emmett Rice makes a tackle for loss, stops the running back in his tracks. But the score is 42-10. Emmett Rice don't need to be getting up and beating his chest and doing all the celebrations. Somebody should be grabbing Emmett Rice by the face mask and say, hey, man, let's line back up and get back on defense. We're down 42-10, and you're celebrating like, we've been playing great. We've been getting burnt all night. That's the issue. That's the main issue of this team. And watch what happens against NC State. You're going to see it. If this team gets behind big against NC State, someone will make a play, and then they're going to act like they just made the game-saving tackle. That's how they're going to act when they do it. And until that mentality is erased from this team, you're going to continue to have very similar results. You're going to continue to have very similar results. I think there's a lot of kids on this team that just didn't take a lot of things serious, if we're being honest. I hate to blame it on prior coaching staffs, but it was really widely reported that by the end of Jimbo's tenure, the players were pretty much doing what they wanted to do. You can go back and listen to other reputable sources, but it's pretty widely reported at this time that at the end of Jimbo Fisher's tenure, the players, they didn't fear Jimbo anymore because they realized, yeah, he did a lot of yelling in practice, but there was never any consequences to the actions. Kids were really getting by and doing what they wanted to do. And then Taggart came in, saw a team that had been abandoned, basically, and Taggart took the approach of, I want to try to be these guys' friend. And it didn't work. Taggart wanted to play music during practice. Man, it's kind of embarrassing. Not that you're playing music, but go watch tapes of some of those practices if you guys get a chance. Guys they'd be running a rep at practice and nobody's paying attention to the rep. Guys are doing dance moves while a rep is going on. How are you learning anything? So Look at the culture that FSU's had for the last 4 years, and you'll see why these kids have nothing in them. One coach quit on them, the other one wanted to be their buddy, and didn't instill any type of grit and determination in them. It's really, it set us back, and that's just the blunt truth. It's not necessarily trying to throw shade or keep bringing up old stuff, but it's why we are definitely in this predicament in terms of the mentality of these kids. Now, I still don't think the coaching has been very good, right? But at a certain point, even if at a certain point you would like to see this team just pose some resistance on the football field. We haven't even seen that. Derek says they don't have leadership, and most importantly, they don't have an identity. We definitely don't have an identity. Inconsistency, actually. I've been saying that. Inconsistency is Florida State's identity. Can anyone tell me why we are ranked so low in basketball? They don't respect this basketball program, but Leonard Hamilton's going to make them respect the Island Boy. You can believe that. Grateful Jimbo was a Nick Saban want to be. Gratefully, my ass, FSU won 2 national championships before he came. So I think no blood's arguing with somebody. Jimbo had personal issues. Sure, he had personal issues. I understand his wife did what she did, and he was going through a divorce. But listen, you don't get paid $5 million or whatever Jimbo was getting paid a year, 5 point whatever, to make excuses. We all go through trials and tribulations in our personal life. I don't know what you do for a living, fire filler now. But if you let your personal life influence your professional life, I bet you they fire your ass and won't give a damn about that. Now, we didn't fire him. He walked out. I understand he was facing personal issues. I'm not saying that that's easy to deal with. I'm not saying that, whatever. The fact is, he's getting paid way more money than I am, and I can't use those same excuses about personal life because we all have a personal. Should have still been doing his job. So that's just me. Stop morning practices. They have too much time on their hands. I'm thankful we won a national championship recently. Okay, you wrote that twice. We were winning before Dumbo came, sir. That's what gets me, Polk. Why are we losing to Louisville and possibly NC States of the world? Because I think those teams are better coached. You can't convince me they're more talented, but they're definitely better coached, and they're definitely more mentally stable, for sure. Says it's crazy how usually when Clemson play FSU, that would be one of the teams to win. Yeah, it used to be. It used to be whoever won the Clemson Florida State game was going to the ACC championship and probably winning. How Olympus has fallen. NC State started passing the ball with confidence that last game. We're in trouble. I'm sorry. That QB coming to prove something to us. Okay, let's see if Bailey Hockman can prove it. I don't have faith that Bailey Hockman can prove it. So we'll see. We will see. Willie definitely beat NC State. Yeah, beat NC State the past 2 years. Yeah, you're right. Now I love Coach Bowden and all, but the dynasty only ended because of the mat drills. What Dumbo is doing now, losing to Bama every year, no-blooded, he is winning 9 games this year. Okay, so you guys want to argue about whether Jimbo's good, bad. It's a bit irrelevant. Jimbo was good for us. I don't know if he's good for Texas A&M, but we'll see how they go. We'll see how A&M finishes the season. But I still think they overpaid him because he's never going to beat Alabama. It's just not going to happen. But I guess I guess it'll be enough to win 8, 9, maybe 10 games a year at A&M. I mean, I don't think that last national championship probably was like in the 30s or the 20s or something like that. So you know, or maybe when Nick Saban retires, who knows? Willie Taggart went 1-1 against NC State. Then we have a 2-game winning streak on NC State. If I'm accurate, you guys are telling me Willie beat NC State 1 year. Okay, so he beat them last year. I know for a fact we beat him last year. So we didn't beat him the year prior? Okay. How many SEC championships and national championships he won? Y'all still talk about Jimbo. let's say a rookie make back-to-back sacks, which I don't see any FSU player who that talent. I see what you're saying. You're right. Okay. So the rebuild's going to start, I think, with the players. Now we move on from the players. What changes to the staff needs to be made? Well, again, I've come to the conclusion you're not gonna see a defensive coordinator fired. Position coach is a possibility. And I'm mainly talking on offense. And I'm talking about Ron Dugan. The lack of development these receivers are seeing is kind of glaring. Like, it's really alarming to me. Okay, it's not. I'm watching guys that don't even know how to run routes in games at this point. And I'm starting to. They can't run routes and they can't catch the ball. It's becoming a trend that I'm watching the last few games. So I'm starting to question, if you can't run routes, if you can't catch, how the hell are you playing wide receiver? I mean, drop after drop after drop is getting ridiculous. Running the wrong routes, this stuff is really alarming to me. And I'm really starting to question what's being taught. What are we doing with these receivers in practice? I mean, at least give me one or the other. If you're gonna run bad routes, at least catch the ball when it hits your hands. If you can't run if you can't catch, at least run the correct route and not force the quarterback to throw it somewhere that gets an interception because he thought you were going one way and that you were supposed to go and you went another way. So from a coaching standpoint, again, I don't think Fuller is going to be let go. Much as I would love to see it, because I hope he proves me wrong, but I just don't see it. The one move I think you'll see on this staff will be at wide receiver. I'm kind of hoping at this point. I know Ron Dugan's former FSU player. I got it. But the wide receiver room is probably the worst room on the offensive side of the ball. Am I wrong about that? O-line has played better than the wide receivers have all year. Running backs have played better. Hell, the quarterbacks have played better. Hell, the tight ends have played better. Wide receivers is the worst position group on the entire side of the offense. And that's even when Tamarion Terry was playing. Real questionable right there. No, Blackman started the game against NC State in 2018 and got blown out. He didn't have a bad game, though. Okay, so I was wrong. We did win last year. 4 and 5 side players who can run routes. So all the player included. The next game, Francois started against Notre Dame, and still we got killed. Okay. So, yep, I was mistaken. We don't have a 2-game winning streak against NC State. We have a 1-game winning streak. If you think we're going to lose to NC State, look, I don't blame you. I don't have a ton of confidence, but I'm going to stick to my guns, and I'm going to say that we are going to win that game. I mean, damn, we have to win one of these games. Like, we just can't. Come on, this team's only wins can't be North Carolina and freaking Jacksonville State. You feel me? So we gotta win one of these games. So I'll take the NC State game. Take that. Exactly. Had us wondering why he made the switch after Blackman had a 4 TD game, and if I'm correct, over 400 yards. No wins left on the table. I don't blame you for feeling that way. I don't blame you for feeling that way. Um, but I'm sticking to my guns. We're going to beat NC State. We're going to lose to Clemson, and we will beat one of the two, either it's Duke or Virginia. We'll beat one of the two. We will not beat both. We'll finish this year with 4 wins, and we'll go into next year and see what happens after the fact. If Francois was the starter last year, do you think we win more than 6 games last season? If Jordan Travis was the starter last year, we win more than 6 games. Now, Francois, I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. And the reason I'll say I don't think so, Francois was a pocket passer like James Blackman. Now, I think Francois had better tools than James Blackman, but he was a pocket passer too. And the offensive line was way worse last year than it is this year. I don't think Francois makes a difference like that. The reason Jordan Travis, I believe, makes a difference, he can extend plays. He can make guys miss. We know what he can do with his feet. I think we probably win more games with Jordan Travis last year than we do with Blackman or Francois. Really hope the transfer portal will be good to us because the next year's schedule only have about 2 guaranteed wins. Who we got next year? What is FSU's schedule next year? It's a good question. You say 2 guarantee, you can never. Yeah, let's look. We're gonna look at the schedule just for you, One Tribe 5, because I want to see. Don't want to look too far ahead. But this season's over, so why not? Why not look into next year? Because this season's done. We open up with Notre Dame next year. Jacksonville State, UMass. Take note, that's not. Okay, here's the schedule, but this is not in order. So I don't know if we're going to open up with. Yeah, okay, so we are going to open up with Notre Dame. And then September 11th will be Jacksonville State. Then October 23rd will be these is the non-conference games. UMass. We play UMass. We're gonna whoop Bill ass. And then we got Florida. Then we got Boston College, Clemson, Louisville, Miami, NC State, Syracuse, North Carolina, Wake. Okay, so we definitely have more than 2 guaranteed wins next year. Okay, so I just want to get that out there. One Tribe 5. We definitely have more than 2. I will guarantee next year 1, 2. I'll guarantee 4 wins, David. That's just guaranteeing 4 wins. We'll see what goes on with some of these other teams. I will guarantee UMass. I will guarantee Jacksonville State. I'm going to guarantee you a Syracuse win, and I'm going to guarantee you a Wake Forest win. Outside of that, I can't guarantee too much. Can't guarantee too much. I don't see FSU. Do we see FSU losing the? Look at FSU's roster compared to a bunch of these rosters, man. So Francois wasn't much of a dual threat. If he was a dual threat, then check Francois' rushing yardage. Francois wasn't much of a dual threat. I don't care what he did in high school. At the college level, he wasn't fast enough to be a dual threat quarterback. Wasn't much of a dual threat. He definitely wasn't the runner that Jordan Travis is. If Francois was such a dual threat, then the first year Francois played with that bad offensive line, why didn't he make him look better? Why wasn't he escaping the pocket and making throws on the run like Jordan Travis has done? Francois wasn't much of a dual threat, if any. So do you think with Jordan Travis last year against Boise State, we put up 31? I don't know. That game was a weird game. But if you look at some of the big plays in that game, Tamarion Terry was all but unstoppable. Terry made a lot of plays. I'd have to go back and watch the game and see how many great throws that James Blackman made. But the offense as a whole stalled. Again, I believe with Jordan Travis, you can make the similar plays Uh, but even when something breaks down and James Blackman takes a sack or whatever, he can extend that play. I mean, there's a good chance we would have put up more than 31, but it's hard to, it's really hard to say. Only DeAndre Johnson or Malik Henry wouldn't have gotten kicked off the team. Yeah. Malik Henry had a lot of talent, but that dude, when you talk about kids with a bad character, that dude's been kicked off of every college team he's ever been on. Malik Henry just had a lot of issues. And DeAndre Johnson got caught hitting that girl on camera. So, did you say Francois was average quarterback? I think Francois had a lot of chances to be really good. I don't think you can look at Francois and say he was too great. I think we kind of get overhyped with DeAndre Francois. Dalvin Cook really helped DeAndre Francois out a lot. I mean, just go look at that Michigan game. Francois played terrible. Made one big throw to Naquan Murray. Dalvin Cook really much did the rest, and then Keith Gavin saved us at the end there. But go look at his stat line for that Michigan game. DeAndre Francois, well, I believe he had more tools to work with. I don't know. I feel like his height kind of hindered him. And then he didn't have a great offensive line either. I don't know if Francois was all that. Bring in Hugh Freeze as DC? Probably not going to happen. I think Hugh Freeze is as a DC. I don't really see that. Now I could be wrong on this. I don't necessarily follow Hugh Freeze, but Hugh Freeze is an offensive coach, if I'm not mistaken. He's an offensive-minded coach. Yeah, I don't see how bringing him a defensive coordinator helps anything. He's an offensive coach. No, I think if we had 2 more years with Jimbo, he goes in the top 4 rounds in the NFL if he gets the ball out quicker because he loves in the pocket and taking hit after hit. If we're talking about Francois, I think Jimbo, a motivated Jimbo, would have got Francois drafted. I mean, Jimbo's track record kind of proved that. Sad, but Blackman would have been a good QB if he didn't have so many coaching changes. He had a great game and won the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. Yeah, but that's against Southern Miss. Black had moments. We're not going to pretend like James Blackman didn't have moments, but I just look, man. How many different coaches did Joe Burrow have? Like we got to stop using that coaching stuff as an excuse sometimes when it comes to James Blackman. I do think he was mishandled. But damn, Baker Mayfield, how many times did that kid transfer from coaching staff to coaching staff? And he just had it. He just was a good college quarterback. James just wasn't the guy. Big Kane says your wide receivers won't develop under Dugans. I'm starting to see that. All I can guarantee is 4 wins next year. That's all I can guarantee. I'm not saying that's all we're going to win. But I'm going to guarantee 4. That might even be a stretch. James Blackman turned back into James Blackman in the second half of the first half was too good to be true. Playing this year in your conference only, do you think the ACC is a weak conference? I think as a whole it is. I really do. I think if you look at Virginia Tech just lost to Liberty. I think outside of Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami, and North Carolina, I think and NC State might even be up there if they would have kept their quarterback had stayed healthy all year. They might be a little better than we think. And a lot of these quarterbacks have gotten hurt. But I'm looking at Louisville being 2-5, Georgia Tech being 1-6, Syracuse sucks. Duke is no good. What is Wake's record? They can't be very great. Virginia Tech just lost to Liberty. That's half of your conference right there that we're just flat out saying is not good. It's hard to say that they are the conference is good when half of the teams are no good. He went 9-27 to Michigan. There you go. Terrible game against that Michigan team. Dugan got to go, I think. We wait before we Francois was definitely tough. Okay, I agree. I'm a Miami fan, but the way Jimbo went about things, yeah, he definitely was. He definitely the way he left was definitely the wrong way to handle it. I think if Malik Henry or DeAndre Johnson stay this program position, Hugh Freeze, head coach at Liberty. I know who Hugh Freeze is, but he's an offensive coordinator, not a defensive coach. That somebody said they think putting him as D coordinator would help, which I don't see. Let's go, Polk. Guaranteed him wins. Mike Lee, what are we talking about? Mike Leach is no, we're fine. We might as well keep Norvell if you're talking Mike Leach. That stuff work on the West Coast. It don't work down south. I have to admit, FSU was trash school all around, but I still love them because they got respectable championships, unlike Miami. Uh, that wasn't the most underhanded compliment I've ever heard. They are a trash school all around. Wow. Well, Frank, don't agree with you there, man. That's pretty ridiculous. What do we do at wide receiver next season? Terry will be gone, along with Thompson, who has the physical tools but hasn't produced. Somebody's got to step up. There's other guys that have physical tools. Somebody just got to step up. That's all. Somebody's got to step up. There's nothing you can do until the player emerges. Somebody's got to step up. ACC is slightly better than the AAC, and that's because of Clemson. Yeah, good point. I mean, if you stack the ACC up with the AAC, is it really? I mean, look, you got Cincinnati's, and what is Cincinnati like, ranked number 6 or something? Like, yeah, UCF. I mean, really, the only thing that has, yeah, Clemson is carrying the ACC torch right now, and Notre Dame this year, obviously. Notre Dame isn't a usual ACC, player. You really can't say the ACC is really any good. Maiden Dave with it. Mike Leach offense would not have worked. It's not going to work in the South, period. You see what is going to happen over there at Mississippi State. It's just not going to work. I don't care if that's the SEC or the ACC. That Mike Leach stuff don't work. He can go over there to the Big 12, or he can go over there to the West Coast and do that. You want to know about your coach until your 3rd year. I know Norvell is early in his tenure at FSU, but do you think Taggart will be further this year with this team? I think Taggart could look. It's hard to really answer that. The issue that I have with that question is, what did Taggart see last year to not play Jordan Travis with Kendall Briles? We didn't see Jordan Travis until Taggart got fired, and then Kendall Briles started playing. So you have to come into this year. Let's assume we don't fire him and we get Jeff Sims in here. Is Jeff Sims the starting quarterback, or is it Jordan Travis? Jeff Sims might have had one good game against us, but let's be real. That dude's taking his freshman lumps. So that's very tough. It's not though. You have to take into account Taggart's decision making in all of these conversations. Why didn't he play Jordan Travis? Now we can say that Norvell lucked up into Jordan Travis, which I said they wanted to go with Rodemaker before they went with Jordan Travis. They kind of lucked up into him. I mean, it's a great question. I think Jordan Travis changes Willie Taggart's entire career if he plays him. So it's a great question. I believe, just on the face of it, I will say this: had you kept Willie Taggart, the learning curve wouldn't have been there. They wouldn't have to worry about learning a new voice and all of this stuff. Maybe this team is a little better, but you'll have to also take in consideration some other things. A lot of people think Marvin Wilson only came back because Taggart got fired. Same thing with Tamarion Terry. Some of these guys that ended up coming back, a lot of people, Leonard Warner was going to leave. Mike Norvell talked them into staying. Now, not saying Leonard Warner is great. I mean, we know that. But my point is, how many of these players would have left had Taggart stayed, because there were talks of that. So I mean, a lot of that, a lot of stuff comes into that. Thompson isn't leaving unless he transferred, but that's no guarantee. Warren Thompson is on the list of the transfer guys, that 12-man list. So we'll see what happens there. Pope, you have to find a QB, then things will change. You definitely got to find a QB. Once we get a QB, I think Jordan Travis could be the guy. I still think that. So we'll see. How long you want tonight? Don't know, Jim. I'm just talking until I don't feel like talking no more. We got 44 people in here. I'm just going until I say I'm tired of it. Usually how I do. Don't really set a time, except for Saturday. Saturday, I knew I wasn't going to talk that long. I didn't want to go for it. But tonight, who knows? Why haven't we seen Demore Tate? Demore Tate is academically ineligible, but he's on the sideline every game. He wears number 12. You can see him on the sideline on every games, and it's just his jersey and street clothes. So he's still a part of the team. Very similar to Travis J of last year. He's academically ineligible. So we will see Demore Tate next year. And I can't wait to see him. I believe if that guy was eligible to play, he'd be your starting corner next to Asante Samuel as a true freshman. What's going on, Duval? Right, Travis was on the team last year, but they didn't play him. That's my point. Willie didn't play him, and I don't know why. We didn't see Jordan Travis until Kendall Briles was running the offense himself. And then they only used him as a runner then too. So Travis is your best athlete that plays QB. You guys need a true QB. Well, we'll see. Now, who's to say he can't be a true quarterback? I don't know. I don't know. I do think he's an athlete, but we'll see. I'll take Sims over Travis because his development will be greater. But right now, no, Sims is a turnover machine. He has 10 interceptions. That goes to my point. Would Jeff Sims be our quarterback this year? Would it be Jordan Travis? We obviously, if Taggart was still here, there's no Trouble Purdy. There's no Tate Rodemaker. So the quarterback room would still be very minimal. The quarterback room under Willie Taggart would look vastly different than it looks right now. We'd have Blackman, Travis, Sims, and probably still Wyatt Rector. Where, now we got Blackman, Purdy, Rodemaker, and Travis. So you still have 4 quarterbacks, but I don't know. I don't know. FSU had been trash football team. Don't count the BCS title. Could you agree? No, I can't agree with that. That's, again, a ridiculous statement. We only have 3 national championships. First of all, if you take everything into account, at Florida State. Florida State hasn't been playing football as long as the Bamas, the Miamis, the Gators, the Ohio States, the Michigans. Those schools have 40, 50, 60-year jump start on Florida State's football program. And in the same amount of time, FSU is pretty much a higher winning percentage than most of those programs, more consensus All-Americans, 3 Heisman winners, more first-round picks than about most of those schools, maybe with the exception of Miami. FSU hasn't been playing football as long as half of these other schools I just named, or all of these other schools I just named. They've accomplished way more in a short amount of time. To say that the program is trash is, Frank, I'm starting to question you. That's one of the most ridiculous statements you can make. Todd, hold on a second. I might get you in here. We would have had Jeff Sims. Do you think Chuba will be better than Sims in the long run? We'll see. We'll see. That's a very tough question. Very tough question. Because I just haven't seen enough of Chuba Purdy. And I've seen a little bit of Sims now. And I don't think Sims is as special as people say he is. But also I think Georgia Tech went the correct route. I think they wanted to get their young guy in there, take his lumps, and they're going to build off of him for the future. Tough to say. I got to see more of Purdy. Got to see more of Chuba Purdy. Very tough to say. I realize when I say James Blackman play football, teams really do need a good QB to win. Y'all need a better strength and conditioning coach, bro. Bro, we just got a new strength and conditioning. I'm not going to sit here and claim that I'm a weightlifter, but if you know anything about lifting weights or fitness, you're not going to see results in not even a year. James Storms is a very good and credible weightlifting coach, and I don't have a problem with our weightlifting coach at all. If you expect James Storms to work miracles, unless he's pumping these boys full of roids, you expect him to work miracles over a summer in which he wasn't even allowed contact with half of these kids? Yeah, I don't. No, it's not going to work like that. Not going to work like that. Watching those practices from last year, you would think Travis can't throw. It's like Willie and Browse were hiding him. I wonder how much of a dog Brian Robinson is if he can get healthy. I'm excited to see Brian Robinson. He was out there a little bit during the Pitt game, so I would like to see that. Our strength and conditioning coach is pretty good at what he does. Yes, Storms is fine. Again, some guys they're on the outside looking in, they trying to talk about stuff that they don't necessarily have all the knowledge on, and that's fine. That's what I'm here to tell you. You're not going to see strength and conditioning results in 4 months. Just not going to happen. And those guys don't hit the weight room like that during the season for obvious reasons. So you're not going to see that type of stuff. Give him another off season. Look, the freshmen now are who you're going to see get the most benefit from that strength and conditioning, not 4, 5-year seniors on the team. Doesn't work like that. It's not how the body works. Jordan is a runner and below average throw. That's it. Get the O-line right and put Purdy in. Frank is drunk. He's drunk, Montre. I know. Either that or he's, I don't know, maybe he's starting to reveal his true fanhood because I don't know where he's going with that. I really don't. Yeah, we sure were. FSU was that's my point. We were an all-girls school. They made it. That's why FSU started playing football 2 to 3, 4 decades after a lot of these other schools. They didn't have the head start that the Gators or the Hurricanes or the Michigans or all those T schools in the South. Florida State didn't have that head start like those schools. Florida State came from nothing. And to say that we've been a trash program except for our national championship wins is the most ridiculous statement anyone could ever say. Like we don't have the highest winning percentage in the 90s by a long shot. Like we didn't run the 90s and play in 7 national championships in the 90s or something like that. I mean, come on. I don't know what Frank on. Frank on some drugs tonight or something. My opinion, FSU should have went after Lane Kiffin over Norvell. I was interested in Kiffin, so I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that, Panama. I think Norvell was I'm giving Norvell time, but I will say this on the Norvell stuff. You cannot. The problem with the Norvell hire, and again, I'm not giving up on Norvell, but to pay Willie Taggart $20 million to go away, and your big hire is Mike Norvell, that's the issue in and of itself right there. If we could have stuck with Willie Taggart and at least let him finish his contract out and hired Mike Norvell. The issue is if you were going to get rid of Taggart, I know Bob Stoops was their first choice, and I never believed it was going to happen, but I do know that they went after him. I get it. But you should have had Bob Stoops guaranteed before you fired him. You should have been communicating with Bob Stoops, and once you realized Bob Stoops wasn't going to come, you should have just kept Taggart and took your L's going forward, or maybe he would have turned it around. The problem was you paid $20 million essentially for Mike Norvell, another group of 5 coach. If it wasn't going to be a big name, if you weren't going to be able to pull a big name from somewhere, in hindsight, that the fire and the hire doesn't justify. That's my issue. Agree with Panama Jack. Lane would have been more. Frank has an extremely low IQ. It's football IQ. If you're a Knowles fan and you're still around, salute. You're a real one. Why wouldn't we be around? Miami just look. You talking about 2001 Canes? You've been a Cane fan, I'm assuming, since then. You still around, so salute to you. But of course, we ain't going nowhere. Norvell, when Jerg says Franklin and Stoops would have taken this job, Franklin would have absolutely killed it. Also, Taggart fired prematurely. I'm going to assume they believe they could get Stoops and Franklin. My thing is, that should have been in writing before you made the fire, though. That's the issue I have. Bob Stoops, for whatever reason, they didn't really go after Mark Stoops like that. Franklin, look, I hear you on the Franklin talk. But what's going on with Penn State this year? They started number 8 and they are defeated. They are 0-3. I don't know what's going on with Penn State. We can assume Franklin probably comes to Tallahassee and kills it, but even then, what's going on at Penn State is a bit alarming for me. But I do think it should have been a big name, whether that's Franklin or Stoops, somebody. To pay $20 million to get rid of Taggart only to hire Mike Norvell really looks like a dumb move. Really looks like a dumb move. Even if you think Norvell will win, it looks like a dumb move. Lane Kiffin has no loyalty, and I have no faith in him as a head coach. He left Tennessee high and dry, and I think he dumped the airport when he was fired at USC. I remember when he left Tennessee. And the sad part about that is I thought he was steering Tennessee in the right direction, and he just dipped for USC. Very similar to what Taggart did to Oregon. He left Tennessee for a dream job. I mean, it is what it is. Who turned down prime time? We turned down prime time? Look, I hope Deion has all the success in the world with what he's doing now. FSU should not have hired Deion Sanders. No. If you're going to bring Deion Sanders in a role, it could have been a chief of staff type role, something where he could talk to recruits. That stuff I would have been down for. Deion Sanders coaching at Florida State, head coach. Norvell inherited a good team at Memphis after Fuentes left. We'll see if he can build a team because right now this don't look good at all. Yeah. We should have hired someone from Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, etc. Willie should have gotten another year, and I don't think Norvell was their first choice. I understand Norvell wasn't the first choice. That's why you shouldn't have fired Taggart until you had some stuff in writing. But we'll see what Norvell can do. We'll see what he can do. There you go. I have no doubt Norvell will win. It takes time, but how much time? Bobby Bowden and Jimbo got folks in Tallahassee real spoiled. Well, it took Bowden time, Panama. Jimbo was a little bit different. Remember, Jimbo offensive coordinator under Bobby Bowden for a few years. So when Jimbo took the head coaching job, when they forced Bobby Bowden out, that transition was real seamless. Jimbo had time as the offensive coordinator to really dig into recruiting in the state of Florida and had built relationships by then. By the time Jimbo took over as the head coach, it was a real seamless transition with the high school coaches and everybody. Norvell's got to build high school relationships. That's one of the things that people gave Taggart. I think why Willie Taggart's outlook was so promising when he was initially hired was because he was a Florida dude. And people felt like, well, he don't have to build any relationships. He's from Florida. He's coached in Florida before with USF. People felt like Taggart had those ties already in hand in Florida. So Jimbo got that benefit of working in Florida for a few years before really being the guy. Excuse me. While Taggart was from Florida, Norvell's kind of behind the 8 ball on that, which is why I never understood why Norvell didn't keep Lockett on the staff. I get it, Jurgen. I get it. Again, USC was his dream job, and as far as I mean, he could a chance to be the king of the West Coast over there. Yeah, I get it. I just felt like he definitely had Tennessee on the right path. It would have been interesting to see if he stayed at Tennessee how that program would be today. But I get why he did it, for sure. I genuinely think if Primetime turns Jackson State into a powerhouse in the HBCU circuit, we bring him in. If Norvell doesn't have us consistently winning 10 games a season by the time his contract is up, we'll see what Primetime does, man. Primetime doesn't have Primetime didn't have the, in my opinion, he ain't got no resume to be Florida State's coach off the bat. I mean, if you can do something at the HBCU level, we'll see. We'll see what he can do. There's some truth to that. I've said that before, though. Yes, people winning is look, wins and losses do help recruiting. But these kids nowadays, they recruit more for their, well, I won't even say nowadays. I think if you look at the history of recruiting, relationships. I remember Derek Brooks told the story of when Bobby Bowden came to his house and his baby sister fell asleep on Bobby Bowden's lap, and that sold him. It's those type of relationships is what recruits look for. So yeah, they definitely commit to coaches more so than schools. If Willie Taggart would have stayed after the Miami game, we would have had Saul George. Yeah, that's the point I've made earlier. We didn't see Jordan Travis till Taggart got fired for whatever reason. We don't beat Boston College without Jordan Travis. So the question is, if Willie Taggart stays, when do we ever see Jordan Travis, if ever? Off the subject, whatever happened to Houston Nutt? He was a proven good coach. I don't know. Nose fan, not going anywhere. Good point about Taggart. Norvell, not a great move. I wanted Fleck or Franklin. Didn't want Kiffin. He's better now, but too immature and questionable character. I would have definitely taken James Franklin. Fleck, not so much. Here's my issue with the PJ Flecks and the Matt Campbells of the world. While I believe they're good head football coaches, Florida's a little different. If you can't recruit the state of Florida, I don't know if a guy coming from Minnesota to Florida was going to be the best situation for Florida State. I think it's 70% relationship, 30% program facilities. If Dabo up and leaves for, I don't know, Oregon State, I guarantee half of this class in 2020 will follow. I think you're overshooting it with half. I think you're overshooting it by a long shot. Shout out to Dabo, but I don't see kids ain't going from Clemson to Oregon. And I know you just use Oregon State as an example, but he might get a couple guys with him. But say half the class, I don't think that one's tough. That one's tough. Because remember, I mean, when Jimbo left for A&M, it's not like Florida State's class followed Jimbo to A&M. We had a bunch of decommits, but those guys went to other places. I think maybe I know Jay Sean Corbin followed him over there. I think like only one other guy followed him over to Texas A&M. So, But hey, hit the like button if you're still in here. We got 36 still in the building. So good. You're having a good time tonight. Hit the like button. Let everybody know we in here going strong for now. But yeah, we I don't even know how we got on the topic of Mike Norvell and Willie Taggart. But at the end of the day, that's just how I feel about that. I think when you look at it in hindsight, you shouldn't have fired Willie unless you had a sure thing. Norvell wasn't the first choice. I got it. Well, he's the only choice we got now. We got to go with it and hope a lot of people make a good point. He didn't have to build a program at Memphis. He just had to maintain one. Well, he's tasked with he has the hard task of building one now. And we'll see if he can build one. Because he's not going anywhere anytime soon. So we'll see if he can build one. I'll say this, and I agree with this. I think he's on the right path to building one. I know the wins and losses aren't showing. Well, the losses are showing. There's no wins. But I think when you see this amount of attrition on this team, when you start seeing all these names of these guys that's leaving, It happened before the season, and there's going to be more to come. We've lost the AJ Litton, the Kalen LeBorns, Jamarcus Chapmans of the world, the DJ Matthews. Look, I think those are good signs that you are tearing down the rot and about to change the foundation. The question is, what is this staff's eye for talent? Because you're not going to get the elite guys. You're not going to get the elite guys just yet. Let's see if they can come. Let's see how they scout some of these 3 stars. Let's see how they scout some of these guys and maybe off the radar. See how these guys end up coming in and developing. That's going to be the key for this staff. Maybe 3 years. Maybe in 3 years we win 9 games. Are you saying that 3 games a year? I think some of you guys are really shooting the expectations very low. Unless you're saying in 3 years we win 9 games. Yeah, I don't know if you mean we're going to win 9 games in the next 3 years or win 9 games at the end of those 3 years. Not too sure there, but yeah. Look, one thing FSU has going for it. Look, ACC isn't great. Let's stop pretending that the ACC is great, because it's not. Okay, I got you. So no, in 3 years we'll win 9 games again. We'll see. I mean that's potentially. I mean, I hate to say it, but in 3 years that's going to be the time to really grade out this guy. I know people don't want to hear 3 years down the road. I mean, they want immediate results, but I think the fact is, when you look at the amount of guys that are leaving, and the fact that he is tearing this thing down to build it back up again, is a 3-year process. How many day one starters does FSU have committed right now? I would probably say, let's look at the list. Let's look at the list. Let's go to the commitment list real quick. I would probably say 1, if we're lucky. And the reason I'm making this point is this goes to that 3 years, like he's saying. In 3 years, you're able to win 9 games. That shows where you're going, right? That shows that he's built something, and this is the culmination of what he's built. The reason it's going to take 3-4 years because these players that we currently have, they are going to have to they're going to have to develop. We don't have a bunch of day one starters. Right now, FSU is ranked number 21 in the recruiting. Luke Altmaier's probably not a day one starter. He's our highest rated recruit so far. Okay, Chambry Jackson will compete for snaps day one. Hunter Washington, Omarion Cooper, 2 4-star corners. They'll probably compete for day one snaps. I'm not sure if either one of them are day one guys. Rod Orr, 4-star. I do not believe he's a day one offensive lineman. And so, I mean, I don't think you have too many day one guys. Unless you get one of these 3-stars to come in and be better than you assume, like a Joshua Farmer or a Byron Turner Jr. There's not a lot of day one guys. So you have to understand that these kids, they need to develop. They're going to need to be coached. Their bodies are going to need to be developed. You're not going to see the results that we want to see in 2, 3, 4 years. It's just going to be the way it is. This offseason will tell it all. Changes coming soon. I'm very interested to see what they do. Maiden Day says exactly. Chambry Jackson is probably the one guy that I looked at that I would say he's probably going to compete for day one snaps. And that's really because what other options do we got over there on the defensive end? So, yeah, Chambry Jackson will probably be the one guy. Now, somehow you're able to land Destin Hill, which I don't see happening. But no one said otherwise as of yet. He's still crystal ball to us, so we'll see how that plays out. I think a Destin Hill will be day one in the wide receiver room easy. Tywone Malone, if somehow you're able to land that guy, he's day one easily. But those are pipe dreams and long shots at this point with the way FSU's playing football. 4 of our 7 losses last season, Yeah, good point. FSU lost a lot of close games last year. We've gotten blown off the map every loss this year. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Prime would have got them dogs back to FSU, but lack head coach material. But I'm reminded of Steve Spurrier retiring from South Carolina because he couldn't recruit at a high level anymore. I think if you would have brought Prime Time in as a again a chief of staff, somebody like that, that would have been a successful way to go. Head coach, yeah, I don't. Well, I didn't know we had 4 crystal balls for that Nico guy at QB. As of right now, we do. Remember, Chubba Purdy's from Arizona. Mike Norvell used to coach over there at Arizona State, so he's got ties over there at Arizona. They got, they're kind of plugged in over there at Arizona. We'll see if Nico sticks it out. It's one of the things that makes me believe Luke Altmaier is not going to flip. It's that relationship they have with Mike Norvell. But they got to put a better product on the field for some of these quarterbacks. But if you're able to get a Luke Altmaier and you're able to get some of these kids at quarterback, I think that's going to change the entire direction of the program. Because let's face it, right now the quarterback room isn't really talented. But I already went over the talent on that side of the ball anyway. The offense as a whole doesn't have a lot of real talent on it. It was really tough. What, 2 4-star receivers? No. Yeah, 2 4-star receivers, and that's Brian Robinson and Warren Thompson. Neither one of those guys are contributing at all. One guy is playing, he just can't catch, and the other guy we haven't really seen on the field. Running back room is the most talented position on the side on the offense. 1 4-star quarterback, 1 4-star tight end with 2 walk-ons at the tight end position, and a bunch of 3-stars on the offensive line. So there's not a lot of talent on that offense. If Dugans leave or gets promoted to fired, who do we have to recruit South Florida besides Odell? Dugans ain't even doing a great job in South Florida right now. They should have kept Telly Lockett on the staff if they were worried about South Florida. Now, from what I hear, David Johnson recruits South Florida as well, and he's got some ties down there. But at this point, I think you cut your losses with Dugans. I still think we're going to end up in the top 25. I don't, unless we get some more decommits. Now, decommits could change it. If the guys stay put that we have, we can add some good pieces. I still say we end up in the top 25. We're at 21 now. I think we'll probably finish around where we're at now, 20, 21, maybe 22. I believe Rodemaker transfers out after next season. Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that? I don't think I guess if you think that FSU, if you think that the level of quarterback competition is going to go up to the point where Rodemaker won't even get a shot, then that makes some sense. That makes some sense. Where is Corey Wren? Corey Wren is not playing. I never thought Corey Wren was going to be ready to play as a freshman, so that doesn't surprise me. I know everybody was enamored with Corey Wren's speed, and this guy runs so fast. There's more to football than just straight line speed. Dugans ain't it coming from a Miami fan. He can wheel some kids in, but that his development is piss poor. Yeah, I see that, Maiden Dave. I see what the way these wide receivers are playing. I don't see guys that are getting any better. So I definitely see that. I can see Rodemaker transferring. Okay. That, I'm not gonna write the book on a Tate Rodemaker just yet. Who knows? Maybe with a year or two of development, Rodemaker could emerge as the best guy on the roster. It's tough to say. It's very tough to say. But I think if you do continue to raise the, you get Luke Altmaier. Now you have 2 4-stars in that quarterback room. And the next year you get Nico. Now you got 3. And you see, and who knows, by then Nico could earn a 5th star because he's that talented, in my opinion. the roof keeps raising on this quarterback room. A guy like Tate Rodemaker might say, yeah, let me go elsewhere. So I do see the path to it. I can't wait for Demore Tate at one corner and Travis Hunter at the other corner. We got to hope Travis Hunter stays committed. We definitely have to hope he stays committed. They got to find another kid to take the top off the defense like Terry. I don't think we have a receiver that's that fast. We got to go out there and find him, though. I would start Chuba this week, continue to run RPO, and please get your playmakers the ball. Toy Webb, and Corbin. I said that too. I said, why not just play Purdy the rest of the way? But I looked back on it and said to myself, well, it depends. Depends on what you're trying to do. From a development standpoint, maybe you play both. Look, the season's over. Let's just be real, right? The season's over. What hurt does it have to rotate both guys in? Rotate both guys in, let both guys play with the ones, see who does better. At this point of the season, everything should be a rehearsal, so to speak, or everybody should be playing for starting positions next year. Let's see who's got it and let's see who doesn't at this point. Because you have Chuba, Travis, and if Altmaier stick, that's some pretty good competition. Plus, yeah, I figured that's where you were going. They need dogs with a mid O-line. So we'll see, man. We'll definitely see what we got going on. Hold on. It's got a bunch more comments just like that. Move LT to receiver in space. At least he seems like he could make plays. So they've been playing. If you haven't been watching, I mean, they moved Ja'Kai Douglas, who's a running back. They've been playing him at a lot of receiver. They have moved Toafili out wide on a few plays. It's obvious that they're more comfortable with the running backs than they are with the receivers. I would also like to Quayshawn to stay and beef up and play D tackle because he has the frame to put the weight on. I think Toafili could be better than Devontae Freeman at the college level. After the season, his mind is going to develop. Him and Webb. I think Toafili's going to be. I think he's the goods. I really do. I think Toafili is the goods. I think Toafili, he has something that I don't think you can teach or coach, and that's patience and vision. Patience and vision. So I like Toafili. And I think once he starts running at around 200 some odd pounds, I think you could you can get a special player. I really do. So at the end of the day, it makes sense, man. Just go with the young guys, maybe rotate that quarterback position. Let both of them play with the ones. See who you got. Just see who you got at this point. Because the season is all but what it is. You're not playing for anything. I know they said everybody makes a bowl game this year, but there's only a certain amount of bowl games. So there's no way for everybody to make a bowl game. So, man, just let people rehearse and play for next year. It is what it is. We're just being real. We can wave the white flag for this year, if we're being honest. You know what I'm saying? Play the young guys. If the guys don't want to be there, let them go. No reason to force a player to stick around that doesn't want to stick around. Let them go. Oh, Ardavius is talking to. I was just gonna ignore him, so I'm gonna continue to ignore him. But you guys feel free to give him the business. So, yep, we talked about a youth movement weeks ago, and they've been doing it though. To the staff's credit, I mean, look, Jaleel McRae is. I think one of the reasons why he's rumored on that 12-man list is Jaleel McRae has lost his spot to two freshmen. DJ Lundy and Steven Dix have both played more snaps this year than Jaleel McRae. So that's probably why That's probably why he would like to transfer. If it's true that he wants to transfer, Jaleel McRae is third on the depth chart, fourth on the depth chart behind two freshmen. Um, so they've been definitely playing the youth. They've definitely been playing the young. They're definitely playing the young guys. So, um, you know, it is what it is. I put you in timeout. You deserve to be in timeout. Um, at the end of the day, we just got to do what we got to do. And we got to accept it as a fan base that this is what it is. Who knows? I'll probably come on here Saturday night and still be mad. And so, do you think this 4-year plan? How long before we call for a new coach? It's going to depend on, again, Norvell's not going anywhere. Norvell's not going anywhere this year, next year, or the next year. I believe he signed a 3 or 4 year deal. So we'll probably get the benefit of that. So that's probably when you'll see a change, if a change needs to be had. They're going to give him the time. Because they just paid $20 million for a guy to go sit in Boca. And that's the truth. They just paid $20 million for a guy to go sit in Boca. When they could have let Taggart finish out his contract. And if Taggart wasn't getting it done, went after a big name without having to pay an extra $20 million. So, but there's also some other things to why Taggart got fired. So, mainly it's a money thing. People weren't coming to the game. Oh, it's just a lot of stuff. You're gonna have to hit the portal really hard. Well, I know for a fact they're gonna hit the portal. The question is, the portal's not too different than recruiting. You can talk about hitting the portal. Well, they still got to convince kids to come. Where McCray went wrong was losing that weight this offseason. You think so, Rose? You think that's why they cut his playing time? I thought losing the weight would have been a good thing, make him be more sideline to sideline. But I guess I can understand that. Because Lundy and Dix are some big boys. I mean, Dix is at 232 as a freshman. Lundy is 240 something as a freshman. I mean, both of those dudes are huge. So maybe the linebackers, they're looking for more big, stout type backers. Do you all expect any fires from the staff during the season, or would those changes happen? I would expect changes to happen in the offseason, maiden day. I don't see them making any staff firings during the season. I mean, most of these guys are handpicked by Norvell anyway. The only guy I could see being fired, period, whether it's during the season or off season, would be Dugans. I don't think he's going to fire any of those guys. Again, he handpicked pretty much all of these guys anyway. So I don't see a firing really taking place. And some of these guys I don't really think deserve to be fired. You look at the amount of young players are playing linebacker right now. It's hard to say that the linebacker coach is a bad coach because he's playing literally freshmen. And he's playing Emmett Rice. And I thought Emmett Rice's game has picked up over the last few games. Emmett Rice started off the season really bad. And I think he's picked it up over the last few games. Emmett Rice had the same thing happen to him last year. Where he started off the season bad, and by the end of the season, you thought, oh man, Emmett Rice has turned the corner. So I guess Emmett Rice is just a slow starter, but with the amount of freshmen they're playing at linebacker, I don't think you can question the linebacker coach. I don't think you can question. We know you can't question the offensive line coach. I thought the defensive end play, while it's not great, has improved drastically from game one to now. I don't think you can question the defensive end coaching. He's also the same guy who coaches special teams. So I'm not sure there's a lot of coaching that needs to be changed. I'm not a fan of what the defense runs, which is why I want Fuller gone. I think the defense as a whole does not look on the same page. It looks lost, and I think that starts with the coordinator. And I'm not happy with the wide receivers. I'm not happy with the way the wide receivers look. I'm not happy that fact wide receivers don't know how to run routes, don't know how to line up. I think that goes to the coaching as well. Only position coach that is safe is Atkins. I think there's a couple others safe, but definitely Atkins ain't going nowhere. Big money boosters didn't expect this pandemic. That is true. That is true, Panama. That is true. I definitely think if you had a crystal ball, they would not have fired Willie knowing that the pandemic was going to hit. When they shuffed out that 20 million to get rid of Taggart, they did not expect this pandemic as far as money goes. They thought they would recoup that money with filling the stands, which they weren't doing under Willie Taggart, which is one of the reasons why he got fired. If we're just being real, is that he wasn't people weren't coming out to support the team under him. Yeah, they didn't foresee a pandemic happening. Like Rice played terrible. He started coming around. Just some of the guys never bought in after stuff that happened before the season. I'm just tired of Novell looking unprepared, coming off a bye week. We can't get any points after halftime. I would have given Dugans one more to prove himself. How long has Dugans been here? Dugans been here 2 years? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what one more year's gonna prove. I agree. We all fans asked for it. I definitely agree with both of you guys. I think the issue has definitely been the fact that in these losses, man, we haven't even been competitive, except for the Georgia Tech loss, which we gave that game away. We haven't even been competitive in these games. It's been really ridiculous to watch. Definitely has been ridiculous to watch. So we gotta rise from the ashes. We gotta burn it down and see what rises. You're gonna set fire to this thing, and then you're either gonna build it back to prominence, or you're at least maybe you lay a foundation for the next coach. But we'll see. We will definitely see. I understand because he is a really good recruiter and he is an alum as well. I'm telling you, he ain't nothing at the end of the rainbow but disappointment. I feel you. I'm with you, Maiden Date on Dugans. I actually agree with you. I've seen enough from Dugans. I hear you too. Little heart. Again, that comes what I mentioned earlier in the video. There's no real leaders on this team. When I say leaders, I mean inside that locker room. I mean inside the white lines, inside those hash marks. There's nobody that's demanding perfection. You know what I'm saying? You go look at most great teams, but we'll just stick to Florida State. Do you think Telvin Smith would have allowed somebody to get up and make a play and get up celebrating it and FSU down 20 points? You think Telvin Smith wouldn't have had nothing to say about that? I guarantee you he would. Telvin would have said something. Joyner would have said something, but they don't have a guy like that on this defense. Bro, 100%. We should have definitely the logo. I don't know what made them change the damn logo. I don't get it. Michigan's never changed their logo. Bama's never changed their logo. I don't think so. Why the hell did we find the need to want to change the logo? And it's so bad I can't even find the old logo when I go looking for it. I've been looking for it on Amazon stuff, and everything's new logo. Miss the old logo for sure. Yep.
I won't mess with you now. But later I was gonna ask you if we have like the ointment that makes
Your finger's just gonna fall off.
cuts and stuff.
Your finger's just gonna fall off.
It is? Yeah. If you put an ointment on it, it's just gonna fall off?
Yeah.
I'd rather let it heal than have a broken finger.
Okay. What the hell is James Nelson talking about? I just want to troll. But that is the cue right there. This comment right here is the cue. 2 hours strong over here on 863 Seminole TV. We was on the Hangover. Olympus has fallen, and how do we rebuild from the ashes? That's what this show was all about. Thought we had a damn good show tonight. According to James Nelson, we need to get rid of Atkins. So y'all give that troll everything he needs. Talking that foolishness. Fuller makes me miss Charles Kelly. Does Jimbo succeed at A&M bother the Knowles fans? If you want to say succeeding is doing what A&M has been doing, what do you equate succeeding to? Like, has he won an SEC yet? I'm just asking. Has Jimbo done anything that Sumlin hadn't already done at A&M? Anyway, not gonna waste my time with the foolishness. Yeah, you heard what he said. I'll put it back on the screen. So y'all give James Nelson the business. He came in here. He wanted to troll. But shout out to everybody who came in here. Show love. If you didn't hit that like button on your way in, by all means, hit that like button on your way out. James is definitely drunk, Sniper. Another Tuesday show. Next show will most likely be on Friday with T2Y. I've been debating on maybe doing more shows throughout the week. I really only do I do a Tuesday show, and I got Friday. My weekend's pretty much packed. I do a Friday show. I do obviously my Saturday show, and I always do a Sunday show. Then Tuesday. So I do 4. I guess 4 out of 7 is good. Probably don't need to add to that. But if people would like to see another show, you guys let me know. Thanks everybody who came on in. James Nelson, I almost whooped your ass. Jay, I don't know. He just came on here. He wanted to troll. You know how it goes. But again, thanks everybody who came on in on another episode of The Hangover. As always, you stay classy, Seminoles. As always, stay crabby, you Candy Cane fans. If any other fans in here, thanks you for showing up. This your boy POLK. And we are out here. Y'all have a good night.